Good morning, XRP Army. Welcome to the stream. If you're watching the replay of this stream, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark. Don't want to waste your time. I'm going to give time for the stream to buffer in, let people join, and then we're going to cover everything. I do have a ton to cover. We have some history being made by XRP. Adoption is happening in real time. ETF inflows are also breaking records. It's just nonstop good news. So go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark if you're watching the replay of this stream. But other than that, I'm going to give it time for people to come in here. Let's see here. Hopefully we got some people coming in already. Usually I have a couple people who hop right in. There's George. He's already in. Morning, George. Hopefully audio sounds good for you. Take a look here. Let me make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to so I can get everything going at the 4-minute mark. Again, giving everyone time to come in. If you're catching the replay, you can skip ahead to the 4-minute mark. If you're coming into the stream, a little patience. I'm going to make sure I get everybody in here so we can cover everything. Absolutely, Golden State. You're very, very welcome. I'm glad you enjoy it. You know, I'm just trying to put out news and updates if you're catching the shorts and everything. Just putting out news and updates, and a lot of people, all I hear is, what's the price? When's the price going to move? I'm like, I'm just trying to give y'all news. Chill. Let's take a look here. Let me make sure this is working before the stream goes. And again, as you're coming in, I always give it to the 4-minute mark to give people time to come in, make sure the audio is good, make sure things are buffered in. Thank you, George, for making sure everything's good on the audio for me. All right, screen is working. And if you caught a glimpse of that, I got something new for us to go over in the chart today. All right, let's see here. And hopefully I'm getting a new microphone for Christmas. I really don't like this one. Seems to be very finicky. Has to be in the right place and capture the audio at the right way. Otherwise, it sounds a little crowded. So hopefully I get a better mic for you all here in the very near future. But just to give you guys a little heads up while we're waiting for people to come in, still we're at the 2-minute mark, but I do have a lot of information. We'll cover the ETF inflows. We'll make sure we get updated amounts for all the XRP held in trust like we do every single day. But we also do have a lot of regulatory news. We have news coming out of the UK. We also had news coming out of the U.S. Plus XRP ledger activity ramping up. And a lot of institutions are really getting on board quick with XRP. It's quite amazing. And I also got a new chair. It's on wheels. It's messing with me too. I might have to figure something out with that. Let's see here. We are currently coming up on the 3-minute mark. If someone could let me know how many people are in the stream, I'd appreciate it. I'm just making sure I get everything updated here before I actually kick this thing off. Again, starting at the 4-minute mark, we're at the 3 minutes, so we'll give it 1 more minute for a few more people to get in, and we will get things rolling. I appreciate your patience as always, and I appreciate every single one of you who are here and like to hang out with me in the mornings or in the afternoons now, right? It's noon now. I'm used to being in the morning. Let's see here. CMGH says 17. Appreciate it. All right, we got 17. It's ramping up early this morning. That's good. Usually when we get things kicked off, we only have about 10 or so when we finally do get things started at the 4-minute mark. So hopefully things grow today because we got history. I love history. History. And I've got something new for you in the chart today. I think you guys are going to enjoy as well. I'm sorry if I'm moving around a lot. I'm trying to get this chair position so it doesn't roll on me while I'm streaming. Let's see here. I got the date right today, at least. I made sure to remember and update that. All right, so a few more seconds here, and I will get things kicked off for y'all. Aloha, welcome, Gunpowder. I see you. All right, we're at the 4-minute mark, so here we go. Good afternoon, XRP Army. Welcome back to the channel. As always, if it's your first time here, kick back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything, but if it's your second time, make sure you hit subscribe, smash the like button, and engage in the chat. The chat is the lifeblood of the stream. The more you chat, the more people see that this stream is active, the more people come in, and the more they chat. And we continue growing the channel. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the news, just like we always do. But it's the way the format of the stream works. I'm going to cover the chart, and then I'll cover ETF inflows, and then I'll cover the news. And at the end of all of that, I'll go into the chat, and I will engage with every single question, every single comment, as long as it is, not derogatory. And we will move on from there. So without further ado, we are going to hop into the chart. I got something new added on here for you. I created this channel. So The reason I created this channel, we're currently at 207. We had nice couple run-ups here, but the reason I created this channel is because I noticed when I was looking at the chart, this line seemed very, very prominent, and we tapped it once, twice, three, now 4 times on the way up. And as far as the bottom end of the channel, we've tapped it once and twice. We did talk about having a $2 support. Looks like we hit that very cleanly and then bounced straight back up. So hopefully this will continue to hold. But what I'm looking at now moving forward is that we hold the bottom end of this channel and continue to rise. To me, again, this is, this is not any specific technical analysis. This is just pattern recognition on my part that I saw forming. So it's something I'm keeping an eye on, but our support and resistance levels are unchanged. It's still $2 support and 220 resistance. This is where we've been chopping for a while. And until we break through 220 with some actual volume, I'm not buying, well, not that I'm not buying XRP, I'm just not buying that we're actually moving up, I'm not believing until we get past that 220 mark with some volume, and then next, beyond that, 270 with some volume. And again, when we're talking about the price and we're looking at the chart, this is all for context. Again, we are here for the long view. We're here for what happens a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, not what the price is saying today, tomorrow, or even next week. We use the chart for context so we can understand what's happening in the macro element. We do have some good macro indicators coming up this week. I don't have it pulled up here, but the Fed meeting is on the 10th. So what I'm kind of expecting, and let me pull the chart back up. One of the main reasons I put this chart up here is because we do have the Fed meeting on the 10th. They're going to decide if we're going to have a rate cut or not, right? I do believe it's probably going to be a sell the news event because it's already priced in. We've discussed this. So this is probably, I think, going to run up to close to the 220 mark by Wednesday and then sell off. Again, that's just, a gut instinct. Do you think we get 220? I think we get 220 if I'm guessing. And again, this is not financial advice. This is just me looking at the chart and thinking about what macro elements we have in play this week. It makes sense to me in my head that we would run up to 220 in anticipation of the Fed rate cuts and then have a sell the news event and probably pull back quite a bit. I don't know how far it would pull back, maybe like 210-ish or something like that, but that's kind of the pattern that XRP tends to show, at least that I've seen. Again, not financial advice. That's not even really hardcore technical analysis. That's just pattern recognition and history. So again, that's why I'm keeping an eye on that channel. I thought it was fun. I know you guys like to see the chart and dive into the chart from time to time. That being said, let's get to what matters the most, not the price, the actual XRP being removed from supply and ETF inflows. We have 16 consecutive days of inflows. That means 0 selling in 16 consecutive days since these ETFs have come out. What does 0 selling mean? A lot of people get this confused. 0 selling means there was no outflows, right? XRP never left these spot ETFs since they have been launched. The only money has come in. Money had not come out. That is a great thing. In that time period, Bitcoin's seen outflows, Ethereum's seen outflows, Solana's seen outflows. All of those have seen outflows. XRP is the only spot ETF that has not had any outflows since its inception, which is crazy to me. As you can see, in the last 24 hours, we still had 14.48 million of inflows, and that, so that's the last 24 hours. That's given, this nonsense that's going on over here. We've had all this negative selling pressure, but the ETFs still keep buying. That's why we pay attention to the ETFs. Again, if you want to pull up this website, you absolutely can. Thank you, Janine. xpmarket.com/ETF. You can see every single ETF in here. As you can see, we're having positive growth today across the board. Again, they all follow XRP. XRP is up. They're going to follow, right? So positive growth across the board. This is excellent news, guys. I mean, the price is not reflecting all of this, but we have major adoption that's happening left and right. And we're going to cover that in the news because we did have a lot of news release over the weekend and today. I really love Monday streams. Just being honest with you guys, I absolutely love Monday streams because I'm doing, the shorts and stuff like that over the weekend. The only opportunity I have to engage with people is in comments. And it's a lot of, negative, price this, price that. So being able to see the chat and see you guys think about the long view of it is great for me, because I'm actually talking to like-minded people again. Again, it's wonderful. So that being said, let's look at what is being physically held in supply. If you saw my video on Saturday, you have an updated amount. Also, if you caught the short that I put out yesterday, you have an updated amount from what took place over the weekend. But we're going to refresh right now and see what all has changed. So looking at Franklin Templeton, we were, as of Saturday when I did the video, we were just under 63 million. As of right now, it is no change. So it has not updated since Saturday. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be the case for most of these. Grayscale, though, was at 103 million on Saturday and currently at 103 million. So when I did this on Saturday, it was just over 455 million total XRP being held in trust. Let's see here. Currently 166 million for Canary Capital. Rex Osprey was at 30 million, still at 30 million. And Bitwise was at 91, and they are still at 91. So no change since Saturday. So a little over 455 million XRP currently being held in trust. 16 straight days of inflows, 0 outflows for XRP. Think about that from an institutional level. But when we're talking about that, and I'm going to get into the news, and I really hope you guys caught my short I did. I'm looking for the right thing right now. Hopefully I still have it here. Yeah. I really hope you guys caught the short I did on Bitwise, but I'm going to pull up the article for you right now. Because when we're talking about these ETFs and we're talking about the record amount of straight inflows, only thing people want to worry about is the price, because the price isn't going up yet, but the supply is thinning by the day. I mean, we can't deny that. So Bitwise goes all in on Ripple. CIO says XRP's game has changed after the ETF boom. What does this mean? XRP trades at 202 as of writing, down 7.5% in the last 7 days and almost 8% in the last 30 days. Traders watch the market drift, yet the coin resists deeper losses while new inflows support demand. U.S. spot XRP ETFs record 16 straight days of net inflows and push the total assets towards $1 billion. So it's important to distinguish $1 billion. Okay, so we're talking about 455 million XRP actually being held in trust. If you take the price, multiply it times the current, multiply it times the price versus the amount of XRP, that's where they're getting this number. Wisdom Tree, let's see here. Wisdom Tree points out that XRP ranks as the only major token that shows a year-to-date gain during the red month of crypto. This resilience sets the stage for Bitwise's sudden shift towards Ripple. And it shows the performance of individual coins over here. Bitwise says XRP's regulatory era has finally changed. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan explains that the firm waited years before building an XRP ETF. He says the reason sits in plain sight. The SEC lawsuit created an existential cloud over XRP. Excuse me, I don't know why I struggle with that word so bad. But created an existential cloud over XRP. No institution wanted a digital asset that could vanish under regulatory pressure. No major company wanted to build real products on top of a blockchain that faced a direct challenge from the regulator. And they have you can find it here on X. They actually have a video of the interview with Matt Hogan, the CIO here. He recalls how the lawsuit harmed adoption, not because the tech lacked strength, but because uncertainty ruled every single decision. Ripple could not secure the partnerships its supporters talked about for years. Investors hesitated, developers kept their distance, and institutions refused to touch the asset until the courtroom dust settled. Hogan says the entire dynamic shifted the moment the legal battle was called in August. He believes that the network finally stands on even ground with large cap assets. He says XRP now holds a real chance to chase global use cases and Ripple's community champions. So basically, he's saying that no major institutions would even consider XRP until August. And since August, we've seen this complete ramp up and this complete, they are diving into XRP, 0 outflows. So as soon as they got everything cleared by the SEC, Bitwise was in, right? Franklin Templeton's in, Grayscale's in, and it's just been buying. There is a massive appetite for XRP right now in the institutional area. And that's only going to continue. I mean, Brad himself said that he sees it ramping up even more in 2026 than what we're currently looking at now. So, I mean, I feel like I've been beating the desk for you guys for weeks with the amount of actual outflows that are happening and the adoption that's taking place. And we're going to continue with that, okay? XRP makes history with first of its kind in U.S. regulated listings. XRP enters a new regulatory era with historic CFTC-regulated U.S. spot listing. Market analyst Diana highlights a historic milestone for XRP after Bitnomial launched the first ever Commodity Futures Trading Commission regulated U.S. spot crypto exchange, making XRP fully tradable under federal oversight across spot, futures, perpetuals, and options. A groundbreaking first for the American crypto market. Mind you, no other crypto has this kind of regulation. XRP is the first, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum. XRP is the first to have full Fed support. Therefore, the milestone propels XRP into a league of its own. No other U.S. exchange offers fully regulated suite of products under a single federal authority. Significantly, XRP is now approved as trading collateral, allowing it and RLUSD to be used as margin, just like Treasuries or stablecoins. This isn't merely a technical upgrade; it's a landmark It's a landmark legitimacy breakthrough. XRP's long regulatory uncertainty in the U.S. continues to fade away. This milestone transforms it into a high-volume crypto token into a fully regulated part of the U.S. financial market infrastructure, unlocking legal access for banks, hedge funds, and institutional traders. Notably, the impact is monumental. CFTC-regulated spot trading boosts transparency and price discovery, while futures, perps, and options enable sophisticated risk management. Collateral approvals elevate XRP from a speculative token to a functional financial instrument, laying the groundwork for deeper liquidity, stronger institutional confidence, and broader real-world adoption. CFTC, Fed oversight, regulated. This is massive. I cannot emphasize how massive this is. We are plugging into the U.S. financial system. It's happening in real time in front of our faces, and the price isn't moving, so no one's paying attention whatsoever. It's unreal. And if that's not enough, let's talk about the UK. The UK formally recognizes crypto as property under its new Digital Assets Act. Remember, we just had something similar roll out in India, and before that, we had something similar roll out in Japan. Mainstream adoption and clarity is happening right now. This is the very beginning. I understand price is not moving yet, but if you're here for crypto for the long haul, we cannot be more bullish over what the next 1, 5, 10 years is going to look like for our assets in crypto. Just me, not financial advice. As always, nothing here is ever financial advice. I am, but do your own research. I'm sorry. I'm just flabbergasted with that CFTC thing. This is, I mean, that's major regulatory adoption here in the U.S. I mean, the Fed's saying, come on in, the water's fine. XRP is great. And the fact they haven't done it for Bitcoin or Ethereum yet is eyebrow raising to me. But that being said, we have covered everything. We've covered the ETF holdings. We've covered the price. We've covered our expectations for the week. We've covered Fed rate cut decision coming on Wednesday. Probably going to be a sell the news event. We're keeping an eye on it. We also covered the regulatory clarity that just came out for crypto and XRP here in the US and the UK. I mean, there's a lot of information. Now, I'm going to hop into the chat and then we'll go over a full recap of all the information here. But I want to say hi to everybody. I love Monday live streams because I believe it or not, I miss talking to people who are similar minded. Dealing with all the comments that say, what about price all weekend gets a little weary. Let's see here. So Golden State said, I appreciate your updates. He said that before the stream started. Thank you, Golden State. Let's see here. And if someone could let me know how many people are in the stream now as I'm going through this, I'd really appreciate it. Let's see here. Sir Charles sent a couple cups of coffee. Appreciate you, Charles. Versatile Fortnite. Do you think we can get 220 by the end of the week? I think 220 by Wednesday is a possibility. I said that when we were looking at the chart, and I'll cover that again. I do think 220 by Wednesday is a possibility. However, I think we might have a sell the news event with the rate cut decisions. I do suspect we're going to have a quarter cut on Wednesday. Crypto Roger says, I got 3K sitting on the sideline waiting for sub $2. If we get it, I don't know if we're going to get sub $2. I honestly think we're getting that point. I'm never going to guarantee that kind of stuff or say that kind of stuff really, but I'm starting to lean. I don't know if we're going to fall back below $2 at this point. I mean, if we do, I'll be wrong. George says, I'd love to see some inflows from other cryptos, not to be greedy. We have been getting that, George. I know that it's hard to see, but we have been getting inflows from other cryptos. During this time, Bitcoin has had outflows. Ethereum has had outflows. Solana has had outflows. Chainlink even had outflows, I believe, and they just went live a couple days ago. So some of these other cryptos are having outflows in their ETFs, and XRP has recorded 0 outflows in their ETFs. So one would stand to think that some of that's going into XRP. Not financial advice. CMGH says, with every analyst pretty much saying XRP is tied to Bitcoin as far as price action, what events have to take place for XRP to decouple from Bitcoin? So for me personally, for XRP to decouple from Bitcoin, it's going to come down to utility and it's going to come down to clarity. Also, the reclassification of the DATs could potentially happen on January 15th. We're waiting for that ruling as well. So if DATs get reclassified to where they have to be held as funds, that's going to kill Bitcoin. I mean, it will hurt it bad between MicroStrategies and the other companies that are holding a substantial amount of Bitcoin as their primary way of making money, as their primary business strategy is just a dollar cost average Bitcoin. So if there's a reclassification of the DATs, that's going to hurt Bitcoin very badly. As well as if we get clarity and XRP gets announced as a bridge asset and they can turn the utility on and actually start using it at scale, I think that is when XRP will finally decouple from Bitcoin, is when it finally can start being used. And we need clarity that it is a currency or bridge asset so they can use it without paying taxes on it. Otherwise, they're not going to use a bridge asset. They have to worry about taxes every time they buy and sell it. That's my opinion, not financial advice. Gunpowder says, in my opinion, mid-26, boom time. Very, very possible. Very possible. I mean, I don't know when boom time is going to be. I think it's going to line up with utility. I've said that from the beginning. I thought we were going to see a steady increase in price through December as we moved into January from the buying pressure from the ETFs. We're getting the buying pressure from the ETFs that just hasn't moved the price yet, but supply is being locked up into those ETF trusts. And we're getting clarity and adoption every week, it looks like. So, I mean, I do think it's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. And I think it's going to fully be circled around that utility and clarity. Let's see here. 47 in the stream. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Appreciate you all. Let's see here. And if you are just joining the stream, the way I work my streams is first I go through the chart, all the news, the ETF inflows. And once I get through everything, I hop into the chat and I engage with everybody in the chat. Once I roll through all of the chat, then I hop back in and do a recap. Once the recap is complete, it just turns into an XRP Army hangout, and we will hang out and talk as long as the chat stays active. The chat is the lifeblood of my stream. I want to engage with every single one of you, so please let me know what you guys think, questions, comments, and concerns. I'm going to hop back into it here. Crypto Roger says, it's okay, I'll take 203. I already have 6 figures XRP. I don't really need more. Well, I mean, you can always send me some, Crypto Roger. If you have extra, I mean, I'll take it off your hands. Not just playing with you. Let's see here. Fisherman 6559 saw an article that Clarity Act pushed into 26. Dems don't want Trump to win, whether it's politically tied or not. It's coming sooner or later. They're gonna have to, if they really truthfully want the United States to be crypto capital of the world. They're going to have to get it through. I mean, they can't call us the crypto capital of the world when we don't have a major exchange here, when we won't even give clarity to our US based cryptocurrencies, right? They need to make a move on this, and hopefully it's bipartisan. I mean, Brad Garlinghouse keeps talking about bipartisan support. The major banks keep talking about bipartisan support. So hopefully they get it done sooner rather than later. But I mean, that's what we're waiting on. We need clarity, and we need clarity so they can open the utility. I mean, that's all there is to it. Banks are starting to lean in now. We have major institutions telling us that is the case. The CIO of Bitwise just pretty much confirmed all of that. And then also it's getting plugged into the Fed with, the spot, the future. I mean, all the CFTC. I mean, it's happening. It is happening. It's just not being reflected yet. Let's see here. Let's see, where was? Let me get back in the chat here. Okay, so I just answered the one about Trump. Is XRP the only coin I am holding? Asked Edward Lee. No, it is not. I do have a handful. XRP is the highest weighted that I'm holding. I do hold Bitcoin. I've been cycling out of that over the last couple months. I also do hold Chainlink, Ondo, Avalanche, and a little bit of XDC. That's about it for now. I've been consolidating, but most of my weight is in XRP. Edward Lee says he has XRP, XLM, SUI, and World Liberty Financial. I don't trust Wilfi. I was looking into Wilfi, and as soon as they dropped 30% an hour before the crash that happened on October 10th, I got out of it. If I'm being truthful with you, as soon as I saw that they were playing in with the market manipulation, because if you go back and look, WLFI dropped 30% 1 hour before the crash happened on October 10th. So from that point on, I said, I'm not messing with this anymore, and I got rid of it. I did have a little, but that was enough for me to say no thank you. George Evans asked, would the fax reclassification not hurt XRP too? I'm guessing you're referring to the DAT reclassification, the Treasuries. It could hurt XRP too, and this is where I think it's brilliant. Okay, I think that's why XRP created Evernorth. I've actually seen a couple of videos. I said this a few days ago, but I've seen a couple of videos recently talking about the DAT reclassifications, and due to how much XRP Ripple is holding, that they could have to sell a large part of their escrow, or they could be reclassified under the new listings. I believe that's why some people are wondering where they're going to sell that to, right? Is it going to go to the government? Is it going to go to, institutions? Is it going to go somewhere else? I personally believe that's why they created Evernorth. Can you think of a better parking spot than your own treasury company? My opinion, not financial advice, but that makes perfect sense, and that also makes perfect sense on why they rushed Evernorth. Remember, they announced they were doing Evernorth, and that thing was live 2 weeks later, and it was right around the time they said they were looking at reclassifying these treasury companies. Food for thought. Connect the dots, do your research, but that makes sense in my head on what they would do in that scenario. So I don't think that the reclassifications are going to hurt Ripple at all. I think if anything, it might actually help them because they have a parking spot for their XRP if they need it. Let's see here. Sam F says a tier 1 asset would be a game changer. Abso-freaking-lutely, that would be a game changer. You're not wrong about that, Sam. CMJH says Jake Claver is 99.99% sure that the price will hit $100. Possibly or full of it. Haha. I mean, anything is possible. And I have said since the beginning of making this channel that these are technologies. We don't really know how they're going to behave. They're not typical securities. They're not typical commodity assets that we're used to trying to understand in the stock market. And I think that this whole process of adoption and regulation and us being so early is part of the really cool fun part of it, is that we really don't know what the capabilities as far as price goes. How do you put a value on a technology that is used to transport value, right? So I really think we're going to find out. And again, if you've watched any of my videos, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And I'm very open about that. And I'm very open about my beliefs when I see so much adoption and regulation and clarity happening with an asset. The thought that it's not going to be used makes zero sense to me. Why put so much money and infrastructure behind something that's not going to be used? It makes no sense. Follow the money. The money tells you where to go. And if you want to look at the build out of infrastructure in major companies we've talked about ad nauseum, you can look at Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Pick your major company. Decades of build out before the explosive growth. And I don't think XRP is any different. My opinion, not financial advice. But I've gone through the entire chat. I'm going to hop into a recap. If someone can update me on how many people are in the stream, I'm also going to recap everything. Keep the chat going. After I get done with the recap, I'm going to come into it and we'll keep hanging out as long as you guys are talking. All right, so let's get into a recap and see what we are dealing with here. For everyone who came in late, I appreciate you. I appreciate every single person who's here, as always. We are currently at 2073, so we've gone up 0.3 of a cent since we've been talking. Again, we have a new channel here. From this channel, this is just pattern recognition, but we had a tap, a tap, a tap, a tap. 4 taps on this top line, and we have 1, 2 on the bottom. So I am following this to potentially 220. We do have rate cuts potentially on Wednesday. We have the meeting on Wednesday. More than likely, we're going to have a quarter basis or a quarter cut on Wednesday. I am anticipating a sell the news event. So I'm thinking we're going to have a run up till Wednesday and then a sell the news event on Wednesday once they announce rate cuts, and then we'll recover from there. So just keeping an eye on this channel. Again, we use the chart for context. We are here for the long view. Everyone on this channel is here for what's going to happen a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Okay? We use the chart as context. That being said, what else did we cover today? We covered ETF inflows. 16 straight days of positive inflows for XRP. Okay? What does that mean? Does that mean people aren't selling XRP? No, of course not. People are still selling XRP. But what it means is more money came in than went out on these ETFs, which means 0 XRP left these trusts. We went through and confirmed, okay? This has only gone up or stayed the same. These have only stayed the same or gone up every single day. We check every single day on the stream, okay? So Franklin Templeton currently holding 63 million XRP or just under. Grayscale currently holding 104 million XRP or just under. Canary Capitals with 166 million XRP. Rex Osprey is just under 31 million XRP. And Bitwise is almost at 92 million XRP. That being said, we covered the news because we had major news today. I didn't even cover this in the regular stream. I'm sorry if you guys have been hanging out, but there was a 400% network surge. This is going back to what we covered what we covered on Friday from December 2nd when we did over 2.2 billion in XRP transactions in a single day. That is the highest ever as far as velocity on the XRP ledger. So again, adoption is happening, ETFs are happening, and the XRPL is starting to light up. We talked about Matt Hogan, the CIO from Bitwise, talking about institutions would not touch XRP because of the lawsuit. But once August was over, every single one of these institutions was ready to hop in, quoting Wisdom Tree and the CIO of Bitwise. So again, the more clarity, the more adoption we get, the more these people are going to jump in. And as soon as the utility turns on, I really do think that's when we're going to get things like an appreciation, a decoupling. Once we exit the speculatory area and we move into an area of actual real utility, that's when we're going to start seeing the things that we're so excited about. My opinion, not financial advice. That being said, we also covered more XRP history, and this is bigger than most people realize. No one's talking about this. XRP secures the first ever CFTC-regulated U.S. spot listing marking it a historic milestone for crypto. No other cryptocurrency has done this, okay? So XRP enters a new regulatory era with a historic CFTC-regulated U.S. spot listing. What does this mean? It means I can't talk. After Binomial launched the first ever Commodity Futures Trading Commission regulated U.S. spot crypto exchange, making XRP fully tradable under federal oversight across spot, futures, perpetuals, and options, a groundbreaking first for the American crypto market. Therefore, this milestone propels XRP into a league of its own. No other U.S. exchange offers a fully regulated suite of products under a single federal authority. Significantly, XRP is now approved as trading collateral, allowing it and RLUSD to be used as margin, just like Treasuries or stablecoins. This isn't merely a technical upgrade, it's a landmark and legitimacy breakthrough. XRP's long regulatory uncertainty in the U.S. continues to fade away. The milestone transforms it from a high-volume crypto token to a fully regulated part of the U.S. financial market. Let that sink in. A fully regulated. Hang on. Let me find that back real quick here. A fully regulated part of the U.S. financial market infrastructure, unlocking legal access for banks, hedge funds, and institutional traders. Regulatory clarity, folks. Adoption at scale. It's happening right now, and I understand the price isn't moving, but if you're here for the long term, my gosh, I hope you are if you're watching this channel. We can't get more bullish than what we've been getting the last couple weeks. That being said, XRP spot ETFs have 15-day inflow streak near the 1 billion milestone. We covered what's being held, over 455 million XRP being held in ETF custody trusts. 15 straight days, no outflows. Institutions cannot get enough. UK finally classified crypto as property under the new Digital Assets Act. We have adoption and clarity happening in the UK. Okay, everything is coming up positive for XRP except for a price increase. I don't know what to tell you there, but again, if you're here for the long view, it's a matter of when, it's not a matter of if. We can see it at the end of the road. We are just walking that direction, and it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter, at least to me. Again, not financial advice. Let's take a look here. I'm going to hop back into the chat now. I've covered all of the information and recapped all of the information. Let's see here. 56 people in the chat. Heck yeah, everybody. It's my second biggest chat. Believe it or not, we did break 100 once. Can we get over 100 again? Chats, reactions. Let's build it. Let's have an XRP party. Let's see here. Fisherman says, Jake is the best. Right or wrong, his crazy price targets were reliant on all aspects of his domino theory happening. Yeah, he did say that. Absolutely. He did say that 100%. He was very honest about that. And he comes out and says that he knows he sounds crazy. So, I mean, I have no problem with Jake. I know he makes crazy predictions, and he's done a lot for XRP and a lot for the XRP community and for the YouTube community as well. Let's see here. Everyone from global financial legislators, TradFi, and your local plumber is talking about XRP. To me, that seems like a good sign. I haven't had my local plumber talk to me about it yet, but I have been stopped a time or two and have people ask me questions because I have XRP sticker on the back of my car. And I've started to get questions about it, which I think is awesome, except for someone just ripped it off my car the other day, so I have to get another one, but that was really unfortunate. Let's see here. CMGH says, what is your estimate on supply numbers still available on exchanges? Well, they said they decreased by 29% since February. The last I saw was when I saw a tweet that had quite a bit, and the averages have been around 6 billion. So I'm going to go out on a limb and guesstimate that what's left on exchanges is going to be anywhere between 4 to 6 billion XRP, somewhere in that ballpark. But I mean, it's been 14 trading days and we've already removed 500 million XRP from the circulating supply that's locked into institutional trust. So it is removed from circulating supply. But that being said, I get a lot of talk about this. I think we need to make an important distinction. When we're talking about XRP being removed from circulating supply and XRP being removed from supply and exchanges, I need to make a very clear distinction, okay? Because I think a lot of people get confused on how this is happening, okay? So XRP ETFs, they purchase their XRP from authorized participants. Authorized participants are outlined in the SEC documentation, okay? That's how the ETFs acquire their XRP. Where do the authorized participants get it from? They get it from OTCs, which is over-the-counter exchanges, okay? Exchanges, a lot of exchanges like Binance, Robinhood, Coinbase, they have OTC desks for this. So just because they're buying it OTC does not mean it's not coming from exchanges, and it doesn't mean it is coming from exchanges. So they purchase from OTCs over the counter. They also purchase from dark pools, which exchanges also have dark pools as well. Okay, so it's not all coming from exchanges, but people need to understand the distinction that exchanges do have OTCs and dark pools as well. It exasperates the issue. I just wanted to clarify that, of what exactly an OTC and a dark pool is, because I think there's a lot of confusion that they're two completely separate things. It's determined by the authorized participants, and it's determined by the legality of the SEC and everything else. So trust me, there a lot of exchanges also handle OTC orders as well as dark pools. So some food for thought, just to touch up on when we're talking about exchanges and what's being held in supply. George says 57 people in the chat. Hell yeah. All right. Pure Bullcrap 101 says Christmas gift. They will rise up the price at Christmas at midnight. That would be amazing. That would be a fantastic Christmas gift. I think a lot of people, I would be having a Christmas well, I guess it would be the day after Christmas. I would have a day after Christmas live stream for that. We'd be partying and celebrating for sure. Let's see. Any more updates on 21 shares ETF? Gunpowder, unfortunately not. I actually was just checking that this morning in preparation for this. I always have it up here. But if we actually refresh the products list, they don't have it on there. Last I saw was a post on X, and they haven't done anything else with it as of December 2nd. It says we're waiting the SEC to declare us effective. So again, 21 shares and Wisdom Tree is stalled, and we don't know why. Could be something, could not be something. I'm not 100% sure. But it is a little odd that they came out and said they had SEC approval to launch and then never launched, and now they're saying they're still waiting on the SEC. So I really don't fully understand what's going on with 21 shares, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I saw multiple announcements that they had SEC approval to launch. They were waiting on the exchange to list waiting on the exchange to approve the ticker, but now they're saying the SEC hasn't signed off on it. So I don't know. 21 shares and Wisdom Tree are stalling for some reason. I think there might be more to that story. We don't know. Let's see here. Steven says, I'm an electrician and I won't shut up about XRP. Well, you don't count, Stevens. You don't count. Let's see here. Desiree says, we're getting close. I agree, Desiree. I think we're getting very, very close. It's just something is happening every single day. Something with adoption, something with utilities, something with regulatory clarity. I mean, it's literally every single day. Where do we see OTC numbers? You can't. That's why they are over the counter. They do that specifically to help control volatility so that large players can make large purchases without spiking the price. So we can't see the OTC's numbers. We can't. We can only guesstimate, and unfortunately, that's what makes it so fun. So I wish I could give you better numbers. We can only guess. So anyone telling you they're giving you exact numbers, they're full of it. My opinion, not financial advice. But I can tell you You can check multiple different sources and come up with an idea. You can paint a picture of what is actually available out there. And if we really take into account what Ripple is holding in escrow, what's being held in ETFs, what we can visibly see being held in whale wallets, right? These large wallets. And you can see too which wallets have been moving things and which wallets have stayed dormant. So you can look at the whale activity as far as what's locked up and what's actually circulating. But all of that being said, we can guess that there's about 4 to 6 billion available XRP for sale floating around out there. That's a guess. And that's, again, my guess based on AI research, based on what's actually being held in wallets and what's actually being held in trust, what's being held in whale wallets. The decrease that we've had reported on exchanges. So my guess is somewhere in the ballpark of 4 to 6 billion. Again, not financial advice, guess. And that's for all of available supply right now that could be purchased. That's, again, my theory. Let's see here. I mean, how much they have. We can't see how much an OTC has left. Unfortunately, that's just not something we can look at. BlackRock ever joins the ETF party for XRP, what effect will that have? I mean, more and more millions coming into the party. Think about this too. We still haven't seen the full scope of what this means for XRP. This is 14 days since the launch of the Canary Capital ETF. So not all of these ETFs have been live the entire 14 or 15 days that we're talking about as far as this streak goes. Okay, Vanguard just got in the mix, right? And now the CFTC thing just got in the mix, and that's spot too. So, I mean, BlackRock is Vanguard just got in the mix, and we still haven't even felt what that means yet. Okay, that money isn't really in there yet. It was just announced that they're going to be able to buy. And so, if you want an idea of what BlackRock is 4 times bigger than Vanguard. So you're talking 9 trillion in assets under management for Vanguard. The money that's about to come into crypto over the next 12 months, I don't think people understand. And we're talking just from an investment like an investment avenue, right? Of actual institutions coming in and buying and investing and holding the assets. We're not even talking about the utility element. We haven't even talked about the reverse carry trade. We haven't talked about the repo markets tightening. I haven't talked about these things in weeks because we've been so focused on all the news adoption and regulatory clarity that's coming out, okay? Let's not forget about the real world pressure that XRP fixes when the utility turns on. I understand the investment element of it is very, very, very exciting because we've had so much to report on inflows and records and all of those things. But utility is where the money is going to be made, in my opinion, not financial advice. So hopefully that answers your OTC and BlackRock questions. Miguel says XRP has the logic of the next crypto king. Makes sense. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? They refuse XRP and lose trillions in old Nostro Vostro system. I mean, you're right, and you're not wrong there. And that's something they're going to unlock. And I always believe that the most money is made by solving the biggest problems. And when you're talking about solving a major problem in money, there's a lot of money to be made. That's where I'm looking down the road, and that's why I feel like I'm crazy sometimes, because I really look at it as a matter of when, not a matter of if. It's all laid out. They're just walking down the road, and that's just my opinion. I try to paint that picture for you, and hopefully you guys do your own research, come up with your own thoughts, your own theory, but I try to explain it the way it makes sense to me. Chris Reyes says, baby whale here. Welcome, baby whale. So what's a baby whale called? A sperm? Isn't that what they're called? I'm pretty sure a baby whale is called a sperm. Someone looked that up. I think he may have just called himself a sperm. I could be wrong, but I remember hearing that somewhere once in my life. I tend to remember those things. Let's see here. But we have gone through the entire chat twice, and when 8 to 10 years they don't offer resistance. Miguel says the logic. I mean, XRP losing. Right. I think it'll be faster than 8 to 10 years, Miguel. I don't think they're going to take that long because the rest of the world is on board too. Someone's going to go first, and whoever goes first is going to make a ton of money. Let's see here. Good afternoon. It's coming 589. Oh, we got a 589 believer. Okay, I got you. Welcome, welcome. Haven't seen that name in here yet, so welcome. Chris Reyes says, who knows, but I'm a whale because I'm buying the dips and accumulating. There you go. Hence, baby whale. All right. What constitutes a whale? 100K XRP? I would say, in my opinion, what would constitute a whale, and the definition would be someone who can influence the market by selling or buying. So a whale would be someone, if they came in, I would say probably 1 million XRP would constitute a quote unquote whale, or $1 million worth of XRP. What I think would constitute a whale, because if someone came and dumped $1 million worth of XRP on an exchange, it will have a direct impact in price. That's how I define whale movement, as far as something that's going to one person who can impact price. Faster central banks will race for it. Someone will be the first. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, when it comes to money, they want to make money. They want to save money. Follow the money. Okay, if it fixes a problem and is going to save them a bunch of money, they're going to go for it. Let's see here. Hawaii China 123 says I'm a fish. Miguel, whale over 50 to 100K tokens. Okay. Everyone has their own opinion on what a whale is, right? So the chat's getting awesome. Keep the chat going, guys. I'll do another recap here in a minute. If someone could let me know how many people are in the stream, I'll do another recap of all the information here in a minute. The stream's been going for about 15 minutes now. It's continuously growing, and I love engaging in the chat. So let's keep the conversation going. And as the new people keep coming in, I'll recap the information again, and we'll touch base. William Figueroa says, I know this is not your prediction, but Jake Claver believes that oil combined with reverse carry trades will spark the price to soar. Your thoughts? I am tracking the reverse carry trade, and believe it or not, me and Jake Claver, and I think that's why a lot of people are here, because I do follow a lot of the same dominoes as Jake. I just have a different, I guess, theory of what it's going to look like in the long run. Than Jake does, but I do believe the reverse carry trade is a thing. That's something I've been tracking since the beginning of October, when Japan started sending out hawkish signals that they were going to hike their rates in December. And if you guys remember, right about that time is when we started seeing the slide in risk on assets like cryptocurrency. We had the big sell-off on October 10th that correlated with the MISC DAT reclassification, right? So all of that stuff happened one after another and felt coordinated. Coordinated? Why can I not talk today? Felt coordinated. Did I hear about the tsunami in Japan today? I did not hear about the tsunami in Japan. Holy crap, you guys are getting me all twisted. Holy crap. Okay, let me answer this question, and I got to come back to that. So I do believe the carry trade is a very real possibility, and I do believe in a lot of the dominoes that Jake is tracking. I just never thought it was going to equal, $1,000 XRP by the end of the year, or $100 XRP by the end of the year. I thought it would give us a run up, and then we would have real appreciation once utility turned on. What Jake Claver was actually predicting, in order for it to have such a rapid appreciation the way he was predicting, would be an economic catastrophe for the rest of the world, for them to cause such a large-scaled quick adoption of an asset like that. It would require a true economic catastrophe. Let's see here. That being said, so my thoughts are, I agree with a lot of those same dominoes. I just don't think we're going to have the rapid appreciation and economic catastrophe that Jake Claver predicts. If I'm wrong and it goes to, crazy numbers, then I'm going to be rich and my family is going to be fine, but the rest of the world will really, really, really be hurting in that scenario. just some food for thought. Miguel says, I'm a small fish. Okay, never mind. Baby fish here for Chris Reyes. We got 48 people in the stream. Thank you. Miguel says, Jake Claver believes heavily in XRP, maybe a little too much, but we are entering the regulation era, no doubt. I 100% agree with all of that. And I truthfully, honestly, probably believe in XRP a little too much if you ask, traditional finance. But I am heavily invested and heavily believe in XRP. Old reprobate 8128 says, I must be a tadpole. Dragonizable says Jake Claver is a clown. He always has such wonderful insight. Let's see. Janine, did I hear about the tsunami in Japan? Warning, she means. So there's a tsunami warning. There was an earthquake. Hopefully everyone is okay. 7.6 big one. But, an economic catastrophe in Japan can also, if we're looking at it from a financial element, that could strengthen the carry trade, the reverse carry trade. If we're going to look at what the possibilities are, a disaster in Japan causing financial hardship, that could definitely exacerbate the reverse carry trade. Three Brothers, hey, how are you doing? I'm late. Oh, it's all right, Three Brothers. We appreciate you. I'm going to do a recap here in a minute once I get back through all the chat here. Miguel says, has the Clarity Act passed? Is there another act passed? The Clarity Act has not passed. We're still waiting on that. Again, the earthquake happened in Japan. Desiree says, I would think a whale is top 0.01%, which is over 360,000. I'm not sure. I don't really have my thoughts on what a whale is to me, that's one person that can impact the market. So one person buying or selling assets that can impact the market by themselves. To me, that's a whale. Let's see here. We'll gladly take $50 by the end of the year. I'll gladly take $6 by the end of the year at this point. Let's see. Exchanges can buy XRP from Ripple. What stops them? They cannot buy exchanges from Ripple. Exchanges cannot buy XRP from Ripple. They cannot pre-order it. XRP cannot sell, or Ripple cannot sell XRP as a security. They can only sell it during their monthly escrow unlock. They can only sell it to partners who are buying it for the technology, or yes, at that point, exchanges, OTCs, and dark pools can buy it at that escrow release. They cannot pre-purchase it, but they can buy it. It does go to the open market. That being said, last escrow release, 700 million of it was locked back up. And there was talk about them having to do something different with their escrow. The escrow is going to change, and they're actually talking about that. What it's going to change to, we don't know. But there's always a lot of uncertainty around escrow. Remember, escrow is there to control and stabilize volatility. That's the whole purpose of it. Eventually, the escrow will be gone. And quite frankly, there's been a whole bunch of talks on if the escrow is going to be held, if a country is going to take over, if XRP was to be a world currency and a country was to take it over, or whatever the case may be, that country would have to take over the escrow. Again, this is all highly speculative. I don't think that's ever going to really be the case. But escrow is nothing new. It's going to be there till it's not. And remember, only 300 million of the last billion was purchased. And again, XRP or Ripple cannot directly sell XRP as a security. So they cannot sell it to ETF issuers. They cannot sell it to that, but they can sell to exchanges. You're absolutely right on that. They can sell it to exchanges. There will be a supply and demand issue. People wondering how it could potentially affect oil and reverse carry trades. So oil that was what Jake Claver switched to spark economic hardship in Japan, was an increase in oil prices. But like you just said, there was a massive earthquake, a massive natural disaster could also make increase hardship in Japan. So that's what they're looking at, them hiking rates so they can start flowing money back into Japan because of their poor economy. Let's see here. The economic catastrophe has been predicted, not just Jake saying it. Super inflation right now. You're 100% right. I actually covered what the debasement trade was not too long ago, and we talked about 25% reduction in the value of the US dollar over the last 5 years. Okay, so believe me, I'm fully on board with that. If I haven't talked about it in every stream, I have talked about it in a couple. So some of you know that I follow the debasement trade. That's what my investments are based on. So I fully believe that, fully agree with you that we are printing ourselves into oblivion and hyperinflation is coming, which is why I'm heavily invested in gold, silver, was heavily invested in Bitcoin, also my XRP, any kind of deflationary asset, real estate, things like that, and anything that I believe is going to have value in the new financial infrastructure that's moving forward. Because the old, to me, and again, none of this is financial advice, but to me, the old financial infrastructure is dying. It's showing that, I mean, inflation is beating the stock market, stock market average at this point. That's not good. We need to get away from that. Let's see here. Let me get back into the chat. I've never doubted XRP in the last 5 years holding. Good for you, Desiree. Good for you. Miguel says, thank you so much for your response. Absolutely. I love the chat. I love talking with all of you. I'm building a real community here. Okay. So for those of you who have been with me a while, and we have lots of new people here, which is amazing today. So thank you all. But for those of you who have been here with me for a long time, I'm building a community here that's here for the long view of XRP. So many people came into XRP in this YouTube space centered around hype and $1,000 price predictions and $100 price predictions and all of these things. But what people don't realize is the utility under those theories is real. The adoption behind that hype is real. Okay. But I don't want to promise anyone like major crazy evaluations. It's just not realistic. Now, if that happens, I am happy to be proven wrong. But what I'm looking at is a more traditional view, all right, a long view of how XRP is going to appreciate over time. Because if we look at just the fundamentals of what is going into XRP, it is undeniable that adoption, investment, and all of these things, regulation, utility, are behind XRP. And that's why I have the feeling and the theory that it's a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So that's where I'm at with XRP, and hopefully you guys are too. The chat's been great today. I'm going to keep going. Let me find out here. Crypto Roger says, anywhere I heard the U.S. government would be taking 25% of the escrow. Again, I've heard that's a possibility as well. None of that's obviously confirmed. But that is one of the rumors that's out there, is that the U.S. government's going to take over some of the escrow and use it to help get themselves out of debt. What are your thoughts on profit taking on the way up or versus long-term holding? Okay, and that is a personal decision for every single person. I am of the buy and die kind of persuasion. I am a buy and die kind of guy. I don't have any plans on selling. I plan on borrowing against it in the future, no more than 20%, so I do not get liquidated. But I don't want to, I guess, because of how much passion and belief and view I have in XRP and what it's going to be, I would rather be the person who didn't sell than be the person who sold too early. That's where I'm at with it. And that's, again, a risk I'm willing to take, not financial advice. But I'm a buy and die kind of guy, and that's because I have so much conviction in what XRP is going to be. And honestly, I would kick myself more for selling too early than I would be if I held and nothing ever came of it. My opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Thank you for your thoughts. What are your thoughts on profit taking? Okay. Crypto Roger said, you won't have to sell. You'll be able to spend your XRP if you wish. Just wait. Yeah, I mean, they're already, that was what we were talking about too with the CFTC, that update that just came out today, is that you can use your XRP and RLUSD as margin. So, and this is within federal regulated institutions. You can now use your XRP as margin. So it's coming. Adoption is happening at scale. Let's see here. Was it true that all big banks and big institutions wanted to the price below $3 so they could accumulate? I can't say anything on that. That's speculation. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible, but there's definitely nothing confirmed on that. And I guarantee you, we're not going to get anything confirmed on that, because that's manipulation and so many laws being broken and everything else. So if that is true, three brothers, we'll never know. Let's see here. Brick1357 says, I'll be honest, I got into XRP because of the hype, but once I've learned about Ripple, ISO 20022, and everything else going on in the community, I'm glad I took the time to research it deeper. That's excellent. That's perfect, Brick. I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm glad you took the time to do your own research and develop your own thesis and beliefs, because hype does die. And right now, talking about this channel, and since we're having such a great long stream and so many people in here, talking about this channel, I started this channel a couple months ago, and I started it with the idea of not being a hype channel, that I wanted to offer a different perspective of XRP. And what I was, what I didn't know at the time was that there was such a large craving for the exact same thing. And you guys have just been funneling in here every single week, and it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The channel has grown massively through November, and it's continuing into December. So I wanted to say thank you to all of you, and appreciate you guys sticking around and, developing your own thesis and having an open mind to maybe a different opinion, something that's outside of the hype wave that you get hit with nonstop out there when it comes to XRP. Let's see here. It's Coming says, if you look at Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, etc., they were all slow burners. Then it was sell off at it's, if you take a look back a couple of live streams, it's coming. If you look back a couple of live streams, we covered exactly that statement. I pulled up all the charts, and we were talking about the decade to 2 decades of growth for each of those before they had their breakout moment. So yeah, I definitely suggest you go back and look back a couple live streams. You'll see us cover that. CMGH says, do you believe that XRP can and will get to Bitcoin numbers? I think it can. I've told you that. I'm not going to limit the possibilities of a technology. So mathematically, yes, it can. Do I think it will? It would have to be worldwide adoption at scale to have a chance to hit Bitcoin numbers of, like, I'm assuming you're meaning like $100,000 XRP. Like the amount of value that would have to be moving on the XRP ledger to justify a 100,000 XRP would require full world adoption, in my opinion. So is it possible? Yes. Highly, 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 highly unlikely, and no, I don't think we'll see that. I'll be happy with a XRP getting to $1,000 down the road. I mean, that would make me a multi-deca millionaire. We think about the amount of value that really is, guys. I mean, it's an insane amount of value. So no, I don't. I mean, mathematically it's possible, but I don't see it happening. There's going to be competition. There's going to be other winners. It's not all going to go to XRP. Let's see here. Brick says, honestly, I'm at the point in my 6 years of doing this, I have no emotions. I stopped looking at daily, weekly prices as well. The price is what it is until it moves. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do here, Brick. We use the price for context, but we talk about the updates and what it means for the picture of XRP as this thing is building out over time. So you found the right home, Brick. All of us are here. We basically think the same way you do, in the sense that the price is the price. We're here for the long term, and we're watching the build out unfold as it happens. William Figueroa says, Jake Claver believes gold will drop by 50% and silver may rise to $100 per ounce. We'll see. Again, if Jake's right, that means I'm very rich. So I mean, I hope he's right, aside from what he's predicting is going to be a massive economic disaster and many people will be hurt. But aside from that, for the price appreciation side of it, as an XRP holder, I hope that's right. But I mean, honestly, I'd probably rather it take 10 years to get there and it not hurt, the entire world. But that's just me. Curtis 4185, when do you think price will go up? In my opinion, I've always said that I thought we were going to see a steady increase in price through December into January. And when we get clarity and utility turns on, that's when we will start to see a real appreciation for XRP, because the value has to be moving on the XRPL at scale for it to hold that price that we're talking about. And on top of that, so it has to be moving at scale. And in order to do that, we need clarity. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get at. Stroke brain got me. And for those, again, the stream is growing. This stream's going on over an hour now. If someone could tell me how many people are in the stream, I'll go back and recap all of the information as soon as I get through this chat. The chat's been going. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're new, make sure you hit subscribe, smash the like button, engage in the chat. We're growing every day. We're here for the long view. This is not an XRP hype and pump and dump party. We're here for what XRP is going to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I'm looking forward to my daughter saying, or I'm looking forward to my grandkids saying, remember when grandpa bought XRP at $2? That's what I'm looking for. Let's see here. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and do a recap for you all. I am through the chat. Oh, no, I'm not through the chat. Hang on. I thought I was. You guys keep, oh my gosh, it keeps blowing up. Let's go. Curtis says, do you think the price will go up in your opinion? Yes, I do. Or when do I think the price will go up in my opinion? I think we're going to see an appreciation from now through the end of the year into January. And then once utility gets turned on, I think we will see a rapid appreciation. How rapid? I'm not sure. I am not Jake Claver. I am not promising you $100 or $1,000 XRP. We are here for the long view. Let's see here. Do you think staking will be offered for XRP? Yes, I believe native staking will be offered for XRP on the XRP ledger. They're already working on it. Was it 2 days ago we did an article, or maybe it was Thursday or Friday? In the live stream, we did an article that they have brought native staking. And also, don't forget, what was it? The Flare network has unlocked staking for the FXRP as well. We do have staking options available. That is in the pipeline natively and already in existence through the Flare network. Let's see here. William Figueroa says, this is a great channel. Thank you, William. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're subscribed. Hit the like button. Janine said there's 46 people in here. That's great. Planet Joachim. My question is, how do you people know this dark pool OTC distribution is happening? Where does this information come from? Is this common practice or more XRP hopium? No, this is common practice. So what an OTC is an over-the-counter exchange. Most exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, okay, for example, have an OTC desk for large purchase orders. This is designed specifically and with the SEC to prevent volatility so that large players can come in and make large purchases without shifting the markets, okay? Dark pools also exist. Also, exchanges do hold dark pools, okay? Not all of them are held on exchanges. There are OTC desks and dark pools that are not exchanges, that are made up of money makers, right? And authorized participants, which is a lot of times where the ETFs will go. Well, the ETF issuers have to go to their authorized participants that are outlined in their documents that they filed with the SEC. The authorized participants then go to money makers, OTCs, dark pools, exchanges, wherever they can to source the best deal for the XRP they need to do or they need to acquire in order to fill those orders. So that's how that works. So it's coming. So when ETFs are removing XRP from supply, it's coming from everywhere. It's coming from wherever the cheapest XRP their authorized participants can get, because their authorized participants make a profit off of the spread, right? They're making money as the middleman. It's basically a broker. So that's how the ETFs are replenishing, and that's where they're getting it from. And then if we want to take it a step further, we can hop into the escrow. And when we talk about everyone wants to know where the escrow is coming from, remember, Ripple cannot sell their escrow directly to ETF issuers. That is not possible. That's what the SEC case was all about. That's why it was deemed it wasn't a security. They can only sell XRP as a technology. So what does that mean? that means they can sell it, they can pre-sell it, right, to their business partners, or once the $1 billion escrow unlocks, then exchanges can purchase that escrow. It's there specifically to prevent volatility and for them to build out the XRP infrastructure, which they have done. So hopefully that makes sense to you all, and hopefully that was a pretty clear explanation. I think that's about as direct as I can get. Let's see here. Desiree says, you are one of the few I will listen to these days. Stay authentic and not a hype boy looking for clicks. You know, honestly, Desiree, I started, I'll be honest, when I started doing this, I thought I had to be hypey. Everything tells you to be hypey. So my very first probably few weeks of videos were not authentic. They were not authentic to me. They were not authentic to who I am. You can go back and look at them. I haven't pulled them down. They were bad too. It's gotten a lot better over the last couple months. But they were not authentic to me, and they weren't authentic to what I was wanting to do. And I think it showed up in the material. And as I've kind of settled into my lane, I've started to notice a real connection with you all. And I appreciate that you see that, Desiree. I appreciate that. Dragonizable, before that happens, a huge meteor will destroy planet Earth. Always love your fun takes, Dragonizable. Three brothers, I've been holding my bag for about 6 years. Dave's XRP, 4 months. Dark pools will dry up, then retail will have to buy from exchanges. Well, I mean, retail already has to buy from exchanges. I mean, you believe authorized participants will have to buy from exchanges? Is that what you're saying, Dave? If that's the case, I agree with you. I don't know if it'll dry up in 4 months, but I do believe that once dark pools and OTCs dry up, and if the only place they can purchase from is retail exchanges, yeah, the price is going to moon. We'll see if that happens. CMGH says, can you explain native staking or staking for the newbies? When I say newbies, I mean myself. So native staking means it is staking for XRP directly on the XRPL. No side chain, no other party, none of that. So when I say we have staking through the Flare network, you can wrap your XRP with the Flare, right? So it becomes FXRP. You move it to the Flare network, and then you deploy it there for staking. So it's not native. Oh, sorry. So it's not native staking on the XRPL, right? It's an FXRP that's staked on the Flare network. So native staking is coming. They have announced it. I don't have the article pulled up here, but I'll try to remember to pull it up for the next one. So that's the difference between native staking and just regular staking, is staking it directly on the XRPL versus staking it on a side chain or someone else using it. Me personally, I am waiting for Ripple to get their bank license and for them to have some kind of native staking option for XRP. I do think that's going to happen in time. And that's how I plan on, if I do deploy a staking option, more than likely it'll be through Ripple and through the XRPL. I do think that will happen in the future. Again, I don't have any confirmation of that, but my brain just tells me that will be built out eventually. For some reason, it makes sense in my head. Dragonizable says, oh, hang on, I got my, Dragonizable says, before that happens, a huge me. All right, hang on a second. Let's see. Can you explain native staking? Okay, Planet Joe Chim says, okay, thanks. You're saying exchanges have a secret stash. I hate when this keeps jumping. I lost it. Huh, it keeps moving stuff around. I was reading one and it just disappeared. Okay. Can you explain native staking? Oh, so yeah. But basically, yeah. I was reading a comment and it got deleted. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened. But yeah, basically exchanges have a secret stash that they keep on the side for that kind of thing. Mint institutions, sorry. Dave's. Oh, okay. Yeah. From okay. Then price floor. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Dave. All right, let me do a recap for you all. If someone could let me know how many people are on the stream, I'm going to do a recap for everyone real quick. I'll bring up the information so you guys just aren't staring at me anymore. Currently at 207.6 while we were discussing all of that. Again, for those of you who came in late, I will give you an update on the actual ETF holdings. 63 million in Franklin Templeton. Grayscale has 104 million. Canary Capital's at 166 million. Rex Osprey's at just under 31 million, and Bitwise is just under 92 million. We still do not have any update on the 21 shares XRP ETF or the Wisdom Tree ETF. No updates whatsoever. They did release a 2x SUI ETF though for their leveraged funds though. So SUI's starting to, and Chainlink's starting to get some ETFs as well. Again, I follow XRP more closely. We talked about news. We talked about a 400% surge in network use on December 2nd with over $2.2 billion or 2.2 billion in XRP transactions. We talked about Bitwise going all in on Ripple with the CIO Matt Hogan saying that the game has completely changed for XRP. This article, and I've already recapped it 3 times, so I'll just give you a heads up. This article is basically saying that sorry, my stroke brain's messing with me. Okay, let me recollect my thought. This article was basically saying that banks were not leaning in, institutions were not leaning in because of the SEC lawsuit. And as soon as that wrapped up in August, all of a sudden everyone was hopping in with their ETFs, Bitwise included. Again, remember, we still have 21 shares and Wisdom Tree waiting to come down the pipeline. We're still awaiting that. Moving forward, we had this information as well. This was massive. Okay, I'm going to cover this a little bit more in depth. If you've already heard me say it once or twice, I'm sorry. But XRP makes history with the first of its kind U.S. regulated listing. XRP secures its first ever CFTC-regulated U.S. spot listing, marking a historic milestone for crypto. Market analyst Diana highlights this historic milestone for XRP after Bitnomial launched the first ever Commodity Futures Trading Commission regulated U.S. spot crypto exchange, making XRP fully tradable under federal oversight across spot, futures, perpetuals, and options. A groundbreaking first for the American crypto market. This is the first crypto to have this, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum. XRP is the first. Therefore, this milestone propels XRP into a league of its own. No other U.S. exchange offers a fully regulated suite of products under a single federal authority. Significantly, XRP is now approved as trading collateral, allowing it and RLUSD to be used as margin, just like Treasuries and stablecoins. This isn't merely a technical upgrade. It's a landmark legitimacy breakthrough. Okay? So what this means is they're looking and they're viewing XRP as a real asset that you can use for margin, it's the first one that's fully recognized by the CFTC. If you want to take it a step further, the UK formally recognizes crypto as property under the new Digital Assets Act. This passed on December 3rd. I believe passed on December 2nd. This was written on December 3rd. The entire world is pumping out their regulation adoption. It is all happening. Every single day, something new comes out, everybody. It's not stopping. It's going to continue. Let's see here. Back to the chat. Just join your channel. Welcome, Anthony. I appreciate you. Let's see here. William asked, what do you think of taking small profits along the rise and loading up on the dips? I believe that's up to every individual investor, William. Me personally, that's not what I'm doing. I've dabbled in day trading. I've dabbled in buying and selling before. I've gotten out of that. At this point now, like I said, with XRP, I'm a buy and die kind of person. I mean, I have no plans on selling my XRP. When you're buying and selling, you have to deal with taxes and all kinds of things. And with the talk of them potentially removing capital gains tax from XRP, that's another thing I'm thinking about as well. When you talk about appreciation, as far as buying and selling, I certainly don't want to sell it if I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. If there's definitely an opportunity, I'm not going to have to pay taxes on it in the future. So that's something you're going to have to weigh yourself. Everyone's situation is different. I can't give you the best advice on that. That's totally going to be up to you. For me personally, in my situation, my beliefs, my thoughts, I think buying and holding is best for me. Buying and selling and taking profits is going to be better for someone else. It's your bag. You have to do what's best for you in your life, not financial advice. Well, you know what? I'll say that's financial advice. You need to do what's best for you in your life. I don't care. Let them come at me for saying that. That's fine. Dragonizable 2026 BlackRock ETF. I'm not sure on that, man. Honestly, the reason I'm not sure with that with the BlackRock ETF is because of Larry Fink and Brad Garlinghouse's connection. There's been way too much weird stuff going on between the two of them. Larry Fink is the chairman of the World Economic Forum. Ripple's a partner. They've been seen on stage multiple times joking about, the XRP ETFs when Brad was like, I don't know, you want to take this one, Larry? And like, there's got to be something going on in the NDAs of BlackRock. Again, I have no proof of that. That's just my opinion. But so I really don't know if we're gonna get a BlackRock ETF. I'm part vain to say we might not see a BlackRock ETF because of something else. I do think we're going to see something that happens with BlackRock. We know Ripple and BlackRock are already partnered using BUIDL for them to use RLUSD as an off ramp for their tokenization project they're doing. So they're already working together. I think there's going to be a lot more of that in the future, but I don't know if it's going to be ETF based. I really do think that's hidden inside the NDAs. You think they are best buddies? I don't think they're best buddies, but I do believe there's a heck of a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. You can go back and look at interviews of those two joking around on stage. Just being honest. You can go find it. That being said, that is all the news. We've recapped it multiple. Yeah, see, BlackRock has bigger plans with Ripple. Dave agrees. But that's all the news. We've gone through everything. We had a ton of people in the stream today. We got up over 50 or 60 people, I think. And I appreciate every single one of you. The channel has been going great. I'm going to wrap it up. We've recapped the information several times. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next stream tomorrow at noon. All right? Later.